We've been wanting to have an AI person on the show. I mean, not an AI person, but somebody who's involved in AI on
I
the
have to
show.
preface a lot of my conversations. Yes, this is a human.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Church Chat, a place where we have real conversations with real people doing real ministry in the trenches. These are conversations that maybe you didn't have at seminary, maybe you're not having them in your circles, but they're conversations that we think are so important to those of us who are just doing ministry. Welcome to Church Chat, and I am so excited to mention to you that today's Church Chat episode is sponsored by Trinity Evangelical Divinity School, lovingly known by, affectionately called TEDS. I love what they're doing. They're making education so accessible for those of us that are seeking more ministry training. Check out all of the incredible stuff at teds.edu/churchchat. I'm one of your hosts, Josh Ott.
And I'm Emily, and today's guest has been a pastor for over 20 years. At one point, he was trivocational. And
Trivocational.
I know that's a mouthful and a lot of work. And he's the founder of SermonAi. Chris Nerreau, welcome to the show.
Hey,
Welcome.
thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So happy to be here. Appreciate you.
I'm stoked for this one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
feel
we've been wanting to have an AI person on the show. I mean, not an AI person, but somebody who's involved in AI on
I
the
have to
show.
preface a lot of my conversations. Yes, this is a human.
Yes, we can confirm Chris is live and in person for this recording.
I think this is a conversation that I've been so looking forward to because, there's not a lot of podcasts out there in our kind of realm, world, church world, talking about this kind of stuff. Although we all are thinking about it, we all kind of circle around it. Some of us are using it. Let's just cut to the source and talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Remains to be seen.
I'm really excited about this. Emily, you nailed the pronunciation of his last name.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
I do try.
And
One of very few people to do that.
I did take 2 years of French in college, though I still really struggle with pronunciation of all sorts of things. So
If I start calling you buddy, it means I forgot your name. That's how.
yeah.
Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Well, before we jump into AI and all the things, we like to intro our guests, get to know them a little bit more by playing two truths and a lie. So hopefully you have some facts about yourself ready to go.
I do.
Before you start, Chris, just in keeping with season 3, you continuing on Emily's tradition of cheating. She admitted before we started recording this episode that she was doing some digging around on our guest.
No,
before
that's
this episode.
smart. That is what is called smart preparation.
Yeah,
So-
preparation is good. Let's see if you can get me.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep.
Mhm.
Number one, I played semi-pro baseball in 1994, 1995 at Pawtucket, Rhode Island. B, I'm married to a woman that I started dating in the 8th grade. C, I'm a grandfather of 2 children.
Mm.
He did it right. So
He did.
he did it by not going too far into the stories, which is where many people make mistakes and betray the lie.
Yeah, you
You
don't
kept
want to
those-
linger
Yeah,
while
you kept
you're
those short enough to be
You just want
confusing.
to deliver these bombs.
I was playing baseball in 94 and 95, and you look like my age. You got the jaw of a baseball player, too. So I'm not sure. There's a lot of semi-pro leagues up in the New England region.
They definitely
I don't know why I'm talking out loud and I'm giving Emily too much information. She's reading Chris right now.
Well, my big thing is that I know that you work with your sons at SermonAi. So I have seen their picture,
Okay, they're AI fake pictures.
their AI pictures.
It
Yep.
was cheaper than hiring a photographer.
Yep. And
It does look like them, by the way. That's what they do look like, just a little polished.
yeah, I mean, I did do some serious digging.
Okay.
And so
Oh,
I've
no.
seen pictures of at least one of your sons on LinkedIn with you at a thing.
Oh,
He's
excellent.
pretty young. So, but I know people do get married young and start having kiddos. So,
Especially with those cold winters up north.
oh, let's see.
Fair enough.
Shoot. Okay. Well, I really don't want to start off season 3 with a loser, but I'm going to say that It's C, that you are a grandfather.
Before you answer, Chris, I'm not sure. I don't. That's one of those where it could be just one, but also eighth grade could have been the truth could have been ninth grade. Everybody likes to tweak it close to the truth. I don't know. Eighth grade's a long time. It's a long
Be a
time.
long time.
But I know people that have done that around here. I'm gonna say I want to believe that you played semi-pro baseball because I'm gonna like you more if that's true. So I'm gonna say eighth grade's a lie.
Okay. All right. So you're both wrong. I never played baseball.
You gotta be kidding
And
me.
now you're not gonna like me. Apologies.
No,
Oh
I still
man.
like you because Emily didn't win, and
I
that is what
know.
is most important to me. I love winning,
Yep.
but I love Emily losing more than I love winning.
Yeah, no, I did start dating my wife on a little yellow school bus, and my daughter's married and has two grandchildren.
Oh, okay. So that was my,
She's my middle child.
yep,
Oh,
that was my
you
problem.
assumed that
Any of
was
the
just
gray
the
hair you
boy.
see on this head has come from her. No, I'm kidding.
No, I
No,
believe
she's
you.
amazing. I
As
love
a
her.
father of two daughters, I totally believe you.
Well, the housing market is so difficult right now. They're living with us right now. So I've got two grandkids, her husband and herself living with us. They bought land and they're getting ready to build a house. So,
Yeah.
That's
uh,
fun.
so we got the full house going. It's a hotel over here.
We are super excited again to have you on. And we teased a little bit about you, that you've done a lot of things. You are a pastor, but you are all like, my gosh, can't speak this morning. I think it's because it's so hot up here. Is it hot where you're in Massachusetts,
Yeah,
right?
it's hot.
Yeah,
It's
it
about
is.
90
It's
today.
steamy. Um, so you're a pastor, but you also started an artificial intelligence company slash business. That seems like a rather unexpected combo. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in kind of the intersection of AI and the church.
Sure. So I guess, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm Chris Nerreau. I've been married for 29 years to my wife as of 2 days ago. And as I said, I got the grandkids and three of my own children. I was called into the ministry about 20 years ago. And at the same time, I couldn't feed my family because in Massachusetts, churches are small. We're not like the Bible Belt, right? And so we
Yeah.
don't typically have churches with hundreds and hundreds of people where you can afford a salary to feed a family of five. And so, as did Paul make tents, I had to go out and make a living. And so, what's interesting is that I was out selling software since right out of college. Graduated high school in 91. So, somewhere around 95, 96, I'm out selling software, not playing baseball. And, I was selling into fast moving consumer good companies, industrial companies, pharmaceutical, and really high tech software to track manufacturing processes. And at the same time, I'm called to the church, so I'm a pastor and I'm preaching every week and I'm serving a church. And I guess that's kind of a good combination for somebody who's going to start a technology company for the church. At least maybe that's what God saw. But it's a funny story because actually I was literally driving on my lawnmower and I'm just mowing my lawn, minding my own business, listening to some podcast or something. And my son texts me on the phone and he says, "Hey, have you ever heard of ChatGPT?" And I said, "No, what is it? I never heard of it before." It's like, "Dad, you got to get with it. So he sends me a link and I jump on a chat GPT and I'm like, what is this thing? And I just type in, give me an outline on Romans chapter 8, 1-5. And boom. Well, that's better than I could have wrote an outline. And it gave it to me in 2 seconds. So I literally shut off the lawnmower, went upstairs, and I bought the domain SermonAi.com. Literally that
Wow.
minute. Because
Wow.
I absolutely knew that this is going to be the future of where things are going to go. Because pastors right now, there's a couple of really difficult things that they have to deal with. One, the only tools they had up until this point were books, whether they were digital or hard copy, and books are very expensive. Okay. And the software that they're using is very complicated, layers and layers of technology. And so when I saw this and I was like, wow, this is the future. I can just talk to it like I'm talking to another person and I can get the data that I need. And it's very inexpensive. So that's kind of what happened. And that's how everything came together.
That is wild. I admire people that have the foresight and the like, I don't know, the brains to be like, yes, I foresee this being something big in the future. Whereas saw AI and was just like, oh my gosh, this is scary, run away.
Oh yeah, it
Even though
is
I do
scary.
use
It
it
is going
now,
to kill
but
all of us eventually, but we're going to use it for good while
yeah,
we can.
yeah.
Make sure I always make sure I thank my AI bot or whatever whoever's
Yeah.
helping me. Just make sure I
Treat
say
them
thank you.
well.
Yeah,
Treat them
remember
well
me when
now,
you
they'll
take over the
remember.
world.
Yeah.
What I love about what you're saying there is, and what I'm hearing is like, it really is born out of a desire to help pastors. And probably nobody gets that more than somebody who at one point was working three jobs, called to ministry, but bivocational to support your family and trivocational at one point to support your family. And I'm hearing that. And I also know about you, and I don't know if Emily found this out in all of her digging, but I do know that you've contributed over 50 sermons to Sermon Central at some point.
Yeah, that was a long
Little,
time ago. Yeah, I have.
yeah. So that just shows me that you have a heart to help other pastors who are maybe trying to balance it all like you are. And that's what I hear from the origin story of Sermon AI. I kind of love it. Um,
It's just so fun. It was just so fun to see it work. And it was like, wow. The problem was when it first started is OpenAI didn't have what's called an API, which allows you to connect to it. So we actually, to start, built a desktop model that kind of just stuck ChatGPT on one side of the screen and a notepad on the other, so you could like write your sermon and ask questions. That's really where it all started.
really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna potentially ask a really dumb question, but I am not super techie, like deep in super techie. I'm, a millennial, so I'm fairly familiar, but like, how does one go about creating such a thing as Sermon AI? Like what did that involve? And is that something you outsourced, or are you like naturally talented in all of the coding required to do that?
Yeah. So I was never talented in coding. That's not me at all. So I did have to hire a programmer.
Mhm.
And we just started. I just literally went to, Freelancer and hired a freelance programmer and said, hey, here's my concept. This is the idea that I want to do. And we just started building. And, one of the things I learned about building a SaaS business, software as a service, is that you have to just release something. Like you can't just go and try and make it perfect forever.
Yeah.
You have to put something together that's a concept and you have to release it and let people tell you what's wrong with it and let it kind of gradually grow and become what it is. So it wasn't like I had all the answers. It was just like, you wake up one day and say, whoa, what if we added this button to do this? And what if we did that? And it just kind of came together over time. But it was never like I sat down with an engineer and said, hey, let's map this entire thing out. It was more, honestly, I've been a pastor for a long time, and it was like, what were all the things I always dreamed I had?
Yeah,
That's
you
such a
truly, I
cool
mean,
perspective.
pastors are the perfect people to create the tools for pastors. So that's
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
so.
we always say the software is simple to use. It's built for pastors, not programmers, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. So I guess I should back up. And do you want to just give an elevator like description of what Sermon AI does for pastors?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, Sermon AI is biblical software, but it's sort of the next generation. Okay. And what I mean by that is think of it this way: like when I was a kid, I had a record collection. And then they told me I had to buy a tape collection. And then they told me I had to buy a CD collection. And then Spotify came out. And now I'm on Spotify, right? Now I have some friends who say, I'm never going to get rid of my CDs. Well, they're all on Spotify now. It's just sort of the way the technology moved. And as for pastors, it's always been you have to spend thousands of dollars and buy thousands of books to hope that you have the information you need when you need it. Right. And now all of a sudden I see this new approach where it could be like a laser beam, right? And you can say, I just need this exact piece of information right now. And so that's kind of where it all came together.
So
Um,
it really is more of like a prep help.
yeah, it's a sermon preparation tool. And so Sermon AI is about helping pastors to research and write their best sermons and sort of take all of the things out of the way that are hindering them from that, whether it's cost, whether it's complicated software, and giving them basically leveling the playing field for everybody so everybody could access some of the best systems in the world and get the best information for their sermon writing. So that's kind of what Sermon AI does. And basically we say four things, right? We're inexpensive, we're powerful, right? We're easy to use, and we're biblical. And one of the things that we specialize in is curating that AI data. Because one of the pushbacks is, well, AI can send hallucinations and send all kinds of different, data that's inappropriate for a pastor. And so what Sermon AI really specializes in is taking the data from the AI providers and then curating that data to
Mm.
present it in a way that it's appropriate for the pastor, not only from, a biblical perspective, but from his denominational perspective. And that's kind of where the future of this is going.
Yeah, I love that. That's such a powerful thing. And one of the distinctions that I caught in what you're saying is it's really a preparation tool, not an actual like write your sermon for you tool. And I
Oh
think
gosh, no, God
when I
forbid, right?
yeah, when I hear, people talking about AI and its intersection with kind of what we do, I'm a pastor, as well as working for the district and doing this podcast thing. One of the things that I often hear is like, well, people are just going to start having AI
Yeah.
write sermons for them. And I guess in some aspect, yeah, that could happen. I think it's pretty lame, and I also think that those are the same people, pastors, who are probably plagiarizing from
Thank you.
things that already exist, like taking one of your sermons off Sermon Central and preaching it like their own, or that those are people that'll take a YouTube sermon and take it as their own, and that's a character flaw, not a flaw with the software. That's
Yeah.
just something that person's going to do that no matter what.
It,
Um,
yeah, you have to take a step back and say it's a tool, right? It's a
yeah.
tool.
So
And it's all about the condition of the pastor's heart.
I love that it's a preparation tool, and I think it's so effective as that. And I guess though, one of the things is like, have you gotten pushback from pastors about like things like Sermon AI, and how do you kind of respond to that?
Yeah. So I just was at the Southern Baptist Convention and we had a booth there, and you can imagine Sermon AI at the Southern Baptist Convention, right? So I had hundreds of pastors come to my booth telling me I was going to hell.
Are you serious?
About 99% of them left saying, "Where do I sign up?" Because it really was about helping them to understand that it's a tool, right? God forbid push button sermon writing. Look, I can photocopy books, right? But I
Yeah.
still use books. I can go on the internet and just download a sermon, but I still use the internet. And so that's you have to have sort of a mind shift that the heart of the pastor what inspires the sermon. And ultimately, what I think is that most pastors love writing their sermons. They love their time with God. They love doing that research. It's not like it can be hard and tedious sometimes, but it's something that they're impassioned about. And so if you don't have that passion, then I could see where you could use it as a shortcut. But they were, like you said, using something else as a shortcut before this.
So I've used AI to help research.
Mhm.
And there's something, and I also love that's my favorite part of the job is building messages and doing the research. I feel like that's where I learn the most. It's the most, I just feel like that's where I get challenged in my own spiritual walk greatly and often. And so
Yeah.
I love sermon prep, and I love writing sermons and being challenged by the research. And there's something really sweet about, I feel like I can do more of that. Like I
Yeah.
can get deeper into it because I'm not flipping through books.
Yeah.
I'm not struggling with a normal search engine that's just popping up, ads and then, nonsense research from places.
Yeah.
I can jump deep into word studies really fast and do much more of it within, especially for people that are preaching often. Like I preach the majority of the Sundays at my church. I feel like it gets you deeper into the research because it saves time, that kind of time in between.
I couldn't agree more. And I mean, you're talking about like when you're doing research with AI, you're talking about, a trillion data points. You're not talking about 500 books in a library or 1,000 or even 10,000 books in a library. You're talking about basically an understanding of everything that's been published, right? And so there's a lot of power there. But what's great about AI is it's not just powerful, it's so simple. Like I just talk to it like I'm talking to you right now. And then I get the response that I need. And the answers that I'm getting are the answers to the questions I actually asked. So it's not like I'm getting, well, this is kind of close to what I wanted, but not really. I need to go buy another book.
Yeah.
And so if you think about it, it's really AI is really just the back end of the same Bible tools you've always been using. They're just easier and more powerful
Hmm.
and less expensive.
So, so for the average person who is maybe like, oh, that does actually sound cool, but I don't even know how to approach AI or like what that would look like. Because I think
Yeah.
there is a little bit of a learning curve of like how to get the most out of AI. Could you give an example of like how somebody could practically like use like what would be like if you were
Mhm.
approaching a topic or a certain Bible passage, like what would be your first step in utilizing Sermon AI to do that? well?
It's a funny question because I get it all the time. Okay, where do I start? And it's so interesting because every pastor is completely different. One
Right.
person wants to start reading the passage over and over again. Another person wants to jump right into original languages, see what the words mean. Other people want to start with commentaries. Um, all of these things are possible with AI. And so what SermonAi, what we try to do is make it so that on the right-hand side of the screen, you've got your sermon where you're writing, and on the left is just basically research tools, right? And most of the time you have your research assistant just sitting there. So it's like a chat GPT, but it's curated for Christian pastors. And so you're writing your sermon, you got a question, you go to the left side of the screen, boom, you get your answer, boom, you drop it into your sermon. Now you can cultivate it and modify it however you want. And so I think that's kind of where most people start. And then they sort of get a sense like, whoa, this is actually really powerful. And then they'll start moving into new tools. But to begin with, and sometimes we'll have pastors who will write out the sermon by themselves without any tools. They'll write out the whole thing. Then they'll just copy the whole thing and drop it into AI and say, hey, clean this up. Give me some suggestions, ideas. How can I make it more accessible? And so there's a lot of different approaches that people take. But those are some ways that AI can definitely help.
That being said, do you feel like there needs to be any type of guardrails, either theologically or I don't know, like personally when using AI, or is SermonAi and or AI in general set up, at least the ones that are geared towards pastors, to protect against things like plagiarism?
Yeah, so I mean, plagiarism is a little bit different because AI, everything is it's not copyrighted, right? You can use it for whatever you want. It's an original every time. But the idea of passing it off as your own could be a problem. So with SermonAi 4, one of the things that we're trying to do, there's two things that we're looking at, and we're getting feedback on whether pastors want it or not. One is a meter on your sermon where you're writing that shows how much was authentically written by you and how much was pasted into the sermon that was AI.
Mm.
Not for any other reason, just to help you to say, hey, wait a minute, this is getting a little heavy on the AI side. And so that's something that we're looking at, particularly now that we're moving towards seminaries and they want to make sure that their students are writing sermons that, are theirs and things like that. So, I think there has to be a little bit of a conversation too about a mind shift. When I was in school, I wasn't allowed to use a calculator for math. When my kids were in school, if you didn't have one, you couldn't take math. You had to buy one. And so there was this huge shift, right? And there's a new shift coming with AI. And I think that shift is understanding that AI is really, really intelligent, okay? Anywhere from 160 to 180 IQ. So somewhere in the Einstein range, right? Or beyond. And AI has all of the data. So it has a really rich, deep database that it can draw from. And so when it's quoting, it doesn't mean it's bad because AI said it. When it's quoting in a really intelligent and really precise way. And so right now, everybody's afraid, well, AI is new and change is always hard, right? But you're going to come to that sort of place, I think, where you're going to be a little bit more comfortable with allowing AI. If I read a book by, John MacArthur or something, I trust John MacArthur, right? And I really I like his writings. And so when I pull from it, I feel comfortable using it. And I think there needs to be a growing comfort with AI. And our job is to curate that data to give you that comfort. So we're building the ability for you to shape your personas the way the data is going to be presented to you. So all of the data that's being presented to you is going to be presented in a way that you want to receive it, that you can, trust. Now, that all being said, we build this system for pastors. This isn't for lay people because your job is to understand what's going to finally go into your sermon, right? So you need to be educated enough to know this probably shouldn't be there. But just in case you're not, we did also build a report card tool in SermonAi 4 that's coming out, and it serves as a seminary professor that's going to read your sermon and then give you feedback on, hey, this looks really good, but based on your denominational preference that you gave me, this is out of line or that's out of line. And so that'll be really helpful, I think, too. But in terms of boundaries, I think the boundaries are a little bit blurry right now and how that's all going to play out. And we just need to give it a little bit of time to settle.
So let's take it back to like more of a personal approach. I'm sure you've used this as a tool yourself,
Absolutely.
not just a company person. So as a pastor,
Mhm.
how do you have any just personal guiding principles that you use as you are writing a sermon using this tool?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, basically, I want to write the sermon from my heart, right? And I want to be prayed up before I begin. And I want to take whatever God is putting on my heart based on that passage and, use that in a way that is faithful to Christ. But I don't necessarily have boundaries. If I see something good, and I don't care if I'm at the grocery store and somebody says it and I write it in my phone because I love it, or if AI says it or a book says it, if it's good and my heart is stoked, from it and it fits what I'm trying to say, I'm going to use it, right? And I'm
Yeah.
not going to feel guilty about doing that because when I preach that, it's going to help people. It's
Yeah.
going to be moving because I was attached to it. I found something personally powerful about it. And so I can present it that way, if that makes any sense.
No, it does totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I totally hear, I do. We don't want lazy pastors and we don't want plagiarism and we don't want all those things. All those things are bad. We all agree with that. But there's a little bit of a blur between how this all plays out. And I think it's very individual and very unique. And it's really between you and God on what you're presenting,
And
If
I think all those things exist outside of this conversation.
absolutely.
This is just another, if you're going to be lazy, you're going to find a tool to help you be lazy.
Exactly.
And this is just another tool. And maybe the scary part is it's a very effective. Maybe
That could be, yeah.
what makes it so scary is that if you're going to use the tool, for good, this is such an effective tool. And if you're going to use it for skirting around the job, it's probably going to be very effective for that too. So
Yeah, it
it all
probably
comes
is.
back to like you're the heart of the pastor,
It
and
really
it's a
does.
little bit of a character check.
And
And
it's always been that way from the very beginning. When the printing press was invented, people were running around grabbing Martin Luther's pamphlets and preaching them.
yeah,
I mean, so it started there.
absolutely.
Is there a scenario where you feel like AI is not helpful in ministry?
Yeah, that kind of question takes it away from sermon AI. And that would be awesome if we could pick your brain a little bit about AI and just ministry in general.
Sure. I mean, there's a huge world change coming in terms of the people that we're going to be able to hire and what we're going to be using AI to do and the different types of ministries. One of the nice things is I think pastors are going to be safe in that, but a lot of people aren't. There's just a lot of things that AI is going to do. And so overall, AI in general for ministry, I can see it being very helpful in helping the church to grow in marketing and those types of things. I see it very helpful in sermon research. Obviously, that's what our tool does. But you're also seeing it helping pastors to write, letters to parishioners or meeting agendas or those types of things where it just takes a lot of time. And this is helping them to do that. So there's a lot of tools in the system in AI that can be used in that sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Where would you recommend somebody to start? I mean, we have our district is runs the gamut between like smaller solo pastor type churches to
Yeah.
like multi-site churches who
Yep.
have lots of staff. I feel like this is such a great tool. Just AI in general could be such a
Sure.
great tool for the smaller churches who can't afford a lot of staff but need to grow. They can utilize these things to do communication in a way that would help them grow if they
Yeah. And
wanted
expand their
to,
ministry.
numbers
Yeah.
wise. Yeah, without having to grow their staff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly. And you're
so,
going to see that absolutely AI can help in almost every facet of that.
mhm.
Whether it's contacting, parishioners with announcements, whether it's building agendas for meetings, whether it's, all of these different sort of tasks can be handled. You're even seeing now sort of receptionists and things like that answering the phones and passing the phones to certain places and things like that. It's powerful. And so it's really going to come down to your own heart of where do you want to put the boundaries on AI. I mean, you can use it more or less. But I think going forward, the thing, no matter how hard we kick against it, everybody's going to be using it eventually for some things. It's sort of the future of the technology. It's just like listening to Spotify. You're not going to have CDs in your car. It's just the way it's going. No matter how hard you push against it, it's here and this is the way it's going, right? But the goal is how can we use it for good? How can we use it to help bring the gospel message of Jesus Christ to the world? And I think there's a lot of ways it can help to do that.
Yeah, and how do we use it to create space for more relational ministry? I think especially for pastors that are juggling a lot, one of the things that gets sacrificed for doing HR stuff is your time with people. And that's an easy and no-brainer kind of fix for this kind of conversation. If you can use a tool to take care of some busy work so that you can create more relational space to do ministry, then that's a great thing.
I couldn't agree more. And especially having that perspective as a bivocational pastor. And I hate that word because I was a pastor who had to have a job, didn't want to have a job, right? But being busy with that, seeing what AI could do to help me personally has been unbelievable.
We'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Trinity Evangelical Divinity School. If you've been listening at all, you've heard how fond we are of the people that we lovingly refer to at this place called TEDS. And they have so many great opportunities for you to test the waters of furthering your education in regards to ministry. And they've made it so simple and accessible. I recommend checking out their certificates. You can go online and find a certificate in biblical and theological studies, a certificate in children and family ministries, and all of the credits that you get testing out these certificates will apply to a master's degree if you so choose to pursue it. The best part is these certificates are so affordable. Talk about getting your feet wet and discovering if this is your calling, trying it out, like finding out if this is where God's leading you. It's never been easier, more accessible, or cheaper. And Emily's going to edit that a little bit so I don't sound so stupid, but these certificates are where it's at. And if you already know what you want to do, jump into a Master's of Divinity. Listen, we have all of these things listed for you to check out at teds.edu/church-chat. teds.edu/church-chat. Jump on there, and we even have an easy form for you to request more information if you want. But scroll down, check out these awesome opportunities for you to get started exploring, continuing your education, getting trained up and equipped for ministry. We're so thankful for TEDS and for all they do. We hope you check them out. Now back to our episode. Okay, so here's a question straight from my experience with children in school. You know, they come home and they, talk about AI and how their teachers warned them that they shouldn't really use AI because sometimes AI gets it wrong and misquotes and almost like fumbles it and gives wrong information. Is that still happening? Has that ever happening? Is that like urban legend to keep kids from using AI to write papers? Does AI get it wrong? And if it gets it wrong, is that my fault or AI's fault or?
No, AI does get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah.
But I will say this, my experience has been that it's 99% of the time, it's not wrong. But there is, and we always, again, this is why this is for pastors, right? You got to be educated enough to know what's going in your sermons. But just overall in general, AI does make mistakes sometimes. And part of our job is to curate data to make sure that that's limited to as small as possible. But again, I go out and buy biblical commentary, and the guy who wrote it can make mistakes, right? I mean, you can have bad theology. Go to a website, it's bad theology.
Maybe that's one of the things that kind of separates SermonAi from just a general AI like ChatGPT or something is that now all the ChatGPT AIs are going to come after me in the apocalypse. But just
Don't get me first, don't worry.
One of the things that I think maybe separates SermonAi from just using a regular platform is that it's more curated. And it seems a little safer than just using a general AI because you guys, are kind of, still needing discernment from the pastor who's using it, but you're working hard to kind of keep it in line with what you're trying to do, provide theological help and research for pastors who are writing.
And you're going to see a huge push for this in version 4 coming out in October. So everything's going to be persona driven. So we're going to allow the pastors themselves to say, hey, these are the people I trust. So I want my personas to be built in this way. So for example, if I liked John MacArthur or Charles Stanley or whoever whoever your favorite pastor is, you can build personas like that. And then you can ask questions and get answers that would be based on all the things that those people have said in their lives, in the way that they speak and the way that they present their data. So that's one of the ways we're trying to curate the data to help make sure that that's clean and the responses you're getting are good. The other way is on the back end with our, like I said, report card, where we're looking at what you've put into your sermon, and then let's do one more quick check over it to make sure that it's good. So that's kind of what we're doing. And that's what SermonAi is all about, is taking raw AI data and responses and cleaning them up and giving to you in a way that's going to fit what you're doing.
So I'm not even sure there is a question in what I'm about to launch into, but I'm sure you guys can both comment on it when I'm done. But I feel like on a personal level, I have always struggled with technology or the advances in technology because I'm I'm 38. I grew up without a smartphone. I got to witness the advent of like laptops, and I'm sure it might have existed before me, but like I lived through that
You're
change in
making us
technology.
feel so old. We didn't even have cell phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
My first one was actually rotary.
Yeah. And I just, as a parent now, I'm so grateful. Like, I'm grateful that that was my growing up. And I feel like that has set me up a little bit better to have better boundaries now that I do have a smartphone and have access to all of this. And that's a huge thing for us and our kids that we are attempting to give them is a childhood with not so tethered to all the technology that is available to them. And my worry, even like I have a degree in English with writing emphasis, the times that I use AI to help me do marketing stuff or to write things, it honestly makes me feel like I'm wasting my degree or that I am going to lose the skills that I did have because I am not, uh, it's not like taking me an hour to write this email. It's taking me 10 minutes, but maybe the hour was worthwhile because probably not to EFCA East who is paying me hourly, but like, like it worries me that I'm going to like slowly lose the skills that I did have because I'm not using them in the same way. And so how do you, either from like a personal perspective or like a pastoral perspective, where's the balance there in even just in society of like, do I need to just suck it up and be like, hey, this is just the way it is? Or is, you know, we see all the research of like how smartphones has caused a super anxious generation. And so there's definite downsides to technology, but I also understand the vibe that like it's never going away. It's always going to keep going up and up and up. So like
Yeah.
sometimes I just feel like a little bit internally
Conflicted.
conflicted about all of that with
Well,
myself and with
this
our
AI
kids,
happened fast, right? AI
Yeah.
has been fast, but there's two schools of thought on that. There's the Amish, and then there's the people with computers. And if you think about it, I mean, I love those old calligraphy letters that people used to write. Like they would sit down and they would take the time to really make a beautiful letter. I don't know anybody who does that anymore, but I do love that.
Hmm.
And so there's this sense where I cherish some of the old things. Like I love opening my Bible when it smells like leather and I hear the
Yeah.
sure. I love all that. Okay, but you can still have that. You still have those things. I say it like this way: research with AI, right? But read for pleasure. Buy the books that you love. Do the things that you love. But this is just sort of the technological leap. This is the way it's going, and it's going to be unstoppable. But people can unplug from it. You don't have to be in on it. It's really up to you.
Yeah,
It's good.
I'm just like, "Ugh, I don't know. It just
But you
makes
know
me,
what? You're not alone. And I think
yeah.
that's because it's change, right? Technology, the problem with technology is it's always change. Every time I went into a company to sell software, it was like, okay, you have to change what you're doing now and do it this way if you buy this software. And that's always what you have to overcome. It's not that people are afraid they can't do it. It's that it's change, and change is always hard. And this is a massive change in a very
Mm.
short period of time. So this is why when pastors see AI or SermonAi, their blood pressure just instantly jumps, right? And I think over time, this is going to settle out a little bit. It's all brand new, right? And I think pastors will say, "Whoa, wait a minute, this is really helpful here, but I'm drawing the line here, and this is where I stop."
What's the craziest thing anybody's, maybe you can't even say this. What's the craziest thing you've ever heard at a booth working at conference?
Oh my gosh! Just at the last show, I literally had people telling me I was going to hell.
Really?
I've I've gotten death threats. Yeah, I've gotten death threats. That I had one person write me and tell me that God was going to curse me with not just cancer, but pancreatic and bone cancer, slow growth, and that it was going to pass on to all my children as well and my grandchildren. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Now they're crazy people. Don't get me wrong; those are crazy people. But we get that kind of stuff, and people are scared.
Man,
It's
I hope those people aren't in ministry.
I really do too. My wife and I were laughing about that. We're like, please, God, don't let them be somebody's pastor.
My word. I mean, there's times where I have prayed for people not to be in ministry, and I feel like I'm going to add all those people that sent you those messages to that prayer.
Well,
I
maybe
mean,
on this
come on,
podcast.
man. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
wild.
Well, I think those were some loopier people anyway, so it didn't. But those are the types of things we do here, and we're on the sort of the top of the wave. This wave is breaking, and we're like right at the cusp of it. So we're facing all of this,
Yeah.
but we see the vision, and we're just trying to push through all that noise to
So how
get.
do you,
Yeah,
that's super helpful. Like, okay, so this takes in just into ministry and leadership stuff. How do you process that? How do you ride the tip of the wave? How do you, when you can see the vision ahead and you're getting such heat? Because that is an experience that every pastor gets,
yeah.
not just related to AI, to all kinds. Anytime we're instituting change, we're going to see that kind of resistance. How do you personally just walk through that?
It's not always easy, and one of the I think the Christian life is really about learning to die to yourself and to embrace humility and to make yourself nothing. And so sometimes I just let these things that are said to me be like birds flying out the window. I just don't pay attention to them, just let them fly by. But it does grate on you. I mean, there's times when I'm reading feedback on Facebook ads and things, and I'll write something back that's a little snarky, and then I have to delete it, and I pray to God, I'm so sorry, Lord, I lost it. And so it's not easy, but I have a conviction that this can be a tool that can really help spread the gospel and help pastors. And so that's sort of the vision. And how can I make that accessible in a way that they'll adopt it and they can embrace it? And so I'm just holding on to that and riding it out. We'll see what God does.
I'll be praying for you because, man, that's just not fun for any person to go through in leadership. Just horrific things. Like, and I can't believe that people even speak those kind of things. My mother passed away from pancreatic cancer. Like,
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear
in
that.
my flesh, I feel like I would punch that person
Yeah.
right now if I saw him. Like I don't
Yeah.
don't wish that on absolutely anybody. And you don't have to edit that out, Emily, because I don't care
Oh,
if
I
the
won't.
whole world knows that. Like I'll ask for forgiveness after I do it, but
Yeah.
come
I
on,
get the
man.
human
Like
side of us. I mean, it's just,
that's just God help us,
Yeah.
like
Trolls are real and it's awful. Like
yeah.
I just, oof, don't love it.
So I guess thank you for enduring that nonsense with a heart that desires to to help pastors and to free them and to allow them to do their jobs and love people as best they can. Thanks for, I want to thank your wife and your family too, like, because I'm sure that heat spreads and hits them too. And,
yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, but there's so many voices out there that are so just wrong. And
It means a lot, and I do appreciate that so much. And I
yeah.
don't want to make it sound like it's all negative and pessimistic because there's been so much positive feedback too. I mean, I was getting people trying to sign up for SermonAi. My website wasn't even built yet. It was like half of one page, and people were like, "Where do I sign up?"
Yeah.
So like this whole thing has been a roller coaster of blessing and hardships and struggles, and every day is just you hit the wall, and they're like, "Okay, how do we get over this wall and this wall and this wall?" But there's been so much good too. The day that I came home and I was able to say, "Hey, I just quit my job and I'm home now and I'm working full time for our family company." And hey, Ben, my son, you're hired, and my daughter, you're hired, and Matt, you're hired, and we're going together as a family to do this. It was just all the other crap just went away instantaneously. It was just
Yeah.
wonderful. So a lot of blessings too.
That's amazing.
That's super cool. Since you do seem to be a very like innovative, forward thinking early adopter. That's the word I was looking for. Early adopter, person for technology. If you could design anything like a tool, an AI tool that doesn't exist yet
Mhm.
for churches, what would that be? If you have an idea.
Would he even share that publicly?
I know
I
somebody's
will
gonna like
actually. I
take
will.
And
that.
can I get in
I
on the
can bleep it out
investment
for
side
you.
of it?
I'm just so curious.
Well, one thing for sure is I'm already building it right now. SermonAi 4 is going to be by far the greatest software we've ever launched. But there is a little thing hovering in the background that we're working on as well.
Ooh.
And we're going to call that Bible Study AI. And so
Ooh.
if you can imagine having a pastor write his sermon and then be able to release that sermon into a biblical app that could be on your television with your small group at home. And that can be there with your leader, helping them through any questions they don't know the answers to, blowing up pictures, videos, and bringing to life the study. We're working on that. And that's something that you're hearing first here. I've never told anybody that. So,
Oh boy. Are we
That's
allowed to?
amazing.
You heard
yeah.
it here. Church
Yeah.
Chat, the podcast, man.
Now we have to build it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that sounds truly amazing.
Well,
What a
one of the
cool
things that we
resource.
heard was that, pastors have, especially big churches, have lots of small home groups. And how is it that the pastor can get his heart using SermonAi, how can I get that sermon into a study format that is sort of the guardrails for all those home study groups, each week. And it's just going to be, I think this is so much fun. It's going to be a great product.
Yeah. I mean, my husband is a pastor and we really like push our small groups to do sermon-based small groups. And I know that they spend at least an hour and a half writing, like crafting their like outline to give to small group leaders. So that would be
Yep.
very much up his alley.
Oh,
That's
it's
cool.
just one button now. That's already built in. So
Yeah. Yep.
one click, here's your outline. But what we're going to do is release it into the biblical software. So when you pull it up on your TV, you'll have a guy's face on there, and he's there to support you in any way you want. He can lead, he can be in the background, however you want. And he's just there to support the study.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah. So that'll be fun.
I love it. Well, obviously, I mean, this episode is not sponsored by SermonAi, but I would love like for you to share if people are interested, what's the best way to find
Yeah.
you, find SermonAi and get hooked up.
Yeah, it's SermonAi.com. And basically, we have a 7-day free trial. You can try it, no risk, and see if you like it. And one of the nice things that we're doing, and I appreciate you letting me give my 2-cent spiel here,
Yes,
but
please.
one of the things that we're doing is we have a different model. When you were with like the cable company, if you were with them forever, you're always getting screwed because the new people are getting all the deals, right?
Yeah.
But we're doing the opposite. So if you're with us, you're locked in on your price, you're getting upgrades, your price isn't changing. And so,
Yeah.
but in terms of sermon preparation tools, AI, we're the first to market, we're the most powerful, and we're the fastest growing.
That's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
shall we do what
Let's
we're
do
loving
it.
right now?
Yeah.
Sounds good. So we end every episode just by sharing something that we're loving, silly,
Oh, cool.
serious, whatever you want. Yeah, you can go first, or you can make one of us go first. I feel like Josh has a really good one.
Yeah, go
You just
Josh.
sense it.
I don't have anything.
I know. That's why I put you on the spot.
Oh man, I'm loving that. My vacation season is fast approaching. It's
There you
long,
go.
long overdue. So we're gonna be not thinking about church for a little while, and a well-needed rest for me and my family, and we got everybody around. So my next couple weeks are gonna be pretty awesome. I'm loving it. I'm loving that.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
You want me to go, Emily, or do you want to go?
Go. No, you can absolutely go if you have one.
Mine is pretty straightforward. I mean, last February I quit my job, and I'm loving that I don't have a boss calling me. It's pretty
Hey,
sweet. I have nobody to answer to except for God above.
that's awesome.
That is amazing.
Honestly, it's been unbelievable to get used to that. 30 years I've worked for big companies, and so but I'm
Yeah.
loving it.
Good. Good, good. Yeah, mine is a little bit on the silly side because I also was scrambling this morning. I was like, oh shoot, I need to come up with something. But one thing that we as a family, so it's my husband and we have 2 kids, are loving. There's a YouTuber who is Ryan Trahan. He's very large. If you haven't heard of him,
No,
I
he's
don't know.
got a big
Yes.
following, or
Ryan? Yes. Oh my gosh. Have you never heard of him?
no?
Okay. Well, he's young. He's like 20 something dude, married. He actually is a believer. He has a cool story, but he just does random videos, all sorts of things. But during the summer, so we are recording in the summer. This probably will not come out in the summer, but we are recording in the summer. During summers, he usually does like a daily video tied to a fundraiser. And the one he's doing this year is he and his wife are trying to stay in an Airbnb in every state in 50 days. So they're traveling from state to state. So he comes out with a new video every day. And it has been just such a joy. We've had kind of a crazy busy summer thus far. And we always look forward to watching Ryan Trahan, seeing where he's going next. And they've raised a crazy amount of money. His videos aren't like, I don't know, he has just really hit the sweet spot of like authenticity and like just good vibes. I don't know. I'm not selling it super good, but if you need something family friendly to watch, they're going to different states, different Airbnbs. He stayed
Oh, that
in
sounds
like a
awesome.
missile silo, tree houses, that kind of thing. They have like different challenges if people donate like $50,000 or more, which people have. I mean, they've almost hit $5 million, and
So
their original goal was
what are they
a
raising
million.
money for?
Oh, St. Jude's.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
they're just donating all of it
Great.
to St. Jude.
Yeah,
So super cool. That's what we're loving.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an awesome episode. Thanks so much for being here, Chris. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, I feel like I'm gonna have more questions for you at the future in the future. And yeah, it's just really neat to kind of hear your journey and to see how this can be a tool when used properly to really help pastors just love people and create impactful sermons by helping with the research part of it. So it's been awesome to talk with you. Thanks for being on here.
Thank you.
And we don't have an awesome way to say goodbye on this podcast. Do you think after all these episodes and all this time, we would have come up with a smooth way to exit these things? Maybe we should have AI write something for us. What do you think, Emily?
Or we can just go with our bye.
See ya. The Churchhead Podcast is for educational purposes only. We dive deep into important and sometimes sensitive conversations and topics about life in ministry. Please know that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely the views and the opinions of the guests and the hosts and do not necessarily represent the organizations that we work for. Nor should our views or opinions be considered a full perspective of circumstances that may be mentioned in this podcast. Our perspectives are limited, and so will be this podcast. What we hope to do is have conversations and spark greater conversations that will lead leaders and their organizations towards greater health. The Church Chat Podcast is edited by Emily Gardner and produced by Emily Gardner and Josh Ott. The Church Chat Podcast is supported by EFCA East, an Eastern District of the Evangelical Free Church of America covering 6 states. EFCA East helps leaders live well, lead well, and multiply, helping churches find new vitality and multiply transformational churches on the East Coast. The EFCA is multiplying transformational churches among all people. For more information, visit efcaeast.com. We hope you enjoyed this podcast and can't wait to see you on the next Church Chat episode.